Hello everyone, this is Shrevin from Ultrawide, the channel that focuses on implementation of ultra-wide resolutions in video games. Today we're looking at one of the hottest releases as of late, Crimson Desert. This game was developed by Pearl Abyss in their proprietary Blackspace engine and was released on March 19th, 2026. Currently, I am recording the game at 3440 by 1440 as you can see here. The game starts off with the logo on top of a black menu screen, which is a pretty clever way to hide the fact that the title screen isn't taking advantage of the full ultra-wide resolution. I won't dwell on it very much because you won't be looking at this screen very much anyways. Like most modern games, Crimson Desert has an in-game settings menu where you can adjust all the graphical and display settings. This game has about 6 different presets, but only 5 of them are immediately exposed. The main presets are low, medium, high, ultra, and cinematic. There is a minimum setting that only gets exposed in the preset option. That is to say, if you try to go through any of these options like model quality, texture quality, etc., the minimum option isn't available. You have to go specifically to the preset to be able to select the minimum option. I won't go too in depth on the settings menu itself, but I am using Hardware Unboxed to optimize settings. If you're interested in knowing what they are and how they came up with those settings, I highly recommend watching their video, which I will link in the description below. What I am more interested in is the video tab, this first tab here, as that's usually what makes or breaks an ultra-wide experience. In terms of a settings menu, there are 4 particular items that I look for. The first one is a monitor selector, which this game has. For context, I currently have 2 monitors, and this game lets me select between either one, though I will talk a little bit more about this near the end of this section. 2 is an aspect ratio selector, which this game does not have. While this isn't a big deal, the lack of this option means that if you want to play Crimson Desert at full screen, at a resolution that's different than your ultrawide, say for example 1920 by 1080, well, then the game will be stretched to fit the entire 21 by 9 resolution instead of being a 16 by 9 game with black bars on either side. 3 is a resolution selector that includes both 21 by 9 and 16 by 9 resolutions. This option is kinda present, and I say kinda. Some 16 by 9 resolutions are here, but some are also absent, most notably 1440p or 2560 by 1440. As addressed in the previous point, while the 16 by 9 resolutions are nice to see here, they have to be played in either windowed or borderless windowed to avoid being stretched out. So for example, if I pick the 1920 by 1080 option, I pick window, then that works just fine, but the moment I go to full screen, the 1080p image will be stretched out to fit the ultra-wide resolution. The last option I look for in a settings menu is a UI position option, where the user can choose to position the UI at either the edge of the screen or closer to the center of the screen. Such an option allows ultra-wide users to not have to move their eyes all over the screen for UI elements, such as the map or context-specific buttons. This option is not present. So, to conclude this section, Crimson Desert has 2-ish of the 4 settings that I look for in this menu. Once we're in game, there honestly isn't much to complain about. I've logged about 20 hours solely on my ultrawide monitor, and not once have I ever been taken out of the experience. All cutscenes and events and the HUD use the full resolution at all times. It's honestly been a joy to play Crimson Desert and get completely lost in it in this aspect ratio.
Yeah. Careful. Yeah. I live for this. Needed a good whack. Yeah. I'll break you in two. No. In three. I like this bar. I'm not down here. I'm not on all you beaten playing cowards. I'll start on all you beaten curs. I'll start on all you beaten curs. Playing cowards. I'll slaughter all you beaten curs.
It helps that it runs well too. I measured performance between different resolutions. My computer is on the high end, consisting of a Ryzen 7 9800X 3D, a Radeon RX 9070, a 1TB PCIe Gen 3 drive, and 32GB of DDR5 6000. My benchmark sequence was a pretty simple one. Start at the first sky tower and fall down to the starting area of Hernand while rotating the camera around the main character. Please note that this performance isn't representative of the entire game. Rather, it aims to show the performance difference between 21:9 and 16:9 resolutions. That said, you'll have to let me know how useful this data actually is. Also, this data was collected on patch 1.0.2. The game has been updated since then. Starting at the bottom, when we go from normal 1080p to ultrawide 1080p, we see a 17% performance drop in average frame rates. When we go from normal 1440p to ultrawide 1440p, we see a 20% performance drop in average frame rates. Lastly, when we go from normal 2160p to simulated ultrawide 2160p, we see a 24% performance drop in average frame rates. I say simulated because I tested at this resolution using AMD's virtual super resolution feature, which allows for rendering at higher resolutions such as this one before downsampling to the monitor's native resolution. So, how is Crimson Desert's ultrawide implementation as a whole? Generally, when I play video games in ultrawide, I do so because of the increased immersion and horizontal viewing distance in the game. When I go to objectively judge Crimson Desert's ultrawide implementation, I look at the metrics you see in the table. I consider the options menu to be generally fine, except for the absence of UI position options, which I actually think would benefit this game greatly because of the vast amount of interactivity the game presents to you in every context. With that said, I would judge Crimson Desert's ultrawide implementation to be good, but it could be a bit better. I also want to mention that this game is quickly being patched as player feedback comes in, and with the game being less than a week old at the time of recording, it is possible that some of my criticism may be addressed in future patches. If they do, I will have a pinned comment below the subscribe button to serve as an update to this video. With that said, that brings us to the end of this analysis. Thank you all so much for watching. If this video was informative to you, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to see more content like this. This is Shrevin from Ultrawide, and I'll see you in the next one.